Sorry, let me just explain myself. First of all, thank you for taking your time to meet with me. I really do appreciate it.
All right.
Um, so I'll tell you a little bit about myself and my project
Okay.
and why I'm kind of wanting to reach out. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So my name's Sarah, and I'm actually Canadian. I'm from Ottawa, but I'm currently living in the Middle East. So I'm living in Dubai.
All right.
Um, and I've been a nurse for about 10 years now, or just over 10 years, maybe almost 12 now. But working between here and Canada, the one thing I've really realized is that people in the healthcare profession and caregivers in general tend to really not take care of themselves. And as we know, there's high rates of burnout and everything happening. Um, And during COVID, I did a coaching course, a certification in life and health coaching, which is great. And I've coached healthcare workers, nurses, but I think my next step is really working with caregivers in general, redefining who a caregiver is, and sharing stories. I really am intrigued by not just the nurse or the doctor or the traditional people when we think of caregivers. I really want to broadcast and share stories from people who are in all areas of life who are caring and nurturing for people.
Okay.
So that's why I reached out.
Thank you for reaching out.
So yeah, I would love to hear about you. I
All
would love to
right.
hear where you're from, what you do, how long you've been doing it. Tell me.
All right. So, as you know, I told you that I'm also living in Canada.
Okay,
I'm originally from Jamaica
wonderful.
and then, moved to Canada.
Okay,
And I've been doing this healthcare for the last 13 years.
fantastic.
So I'm in it for the last 13 years.
Mm,
Before that, I was, working at the bank and doing other jobs. But
okay,
now this has become my main job that I do.
okay,
I'm in geriatric, whereas the old people. I'm in long-term care.
okay,
So I mostly do older people
okay.
in the long-term care.
Mm,
Yeah, so I've been doing that. And as you say, it's a very challenging job
mm.
because, my doctor once told me, what do you do again? And he says it's like taking care of people who are not able to take care of themselves. I won't bother even say what he said. So, he's saying, well, you have to do totally everything for that person. So, it tends to wear the body out.
Mm,
So you find that we'll have pain in the shoulder, in the back, in the legs. You find a lot of healthcare workers, who suffer from chronic pain and eventually develop into arthritis. So
mm.
it is the long hours of constantly caring for someone who is not able to care for themselves because you have to move them, you have to do the total care from head to toe. So in the process of doing it, sometimes we don't think. And because we don't think, we overexert our own body. And in doing that, then we get, the fractured. You'll have pain in the shoulder, pain in the hand, pain in the back, and pain in the leg because we don't practice what we were taught in school to do the I'm trying to remember the name now. When they say um,
Like the transfer board like the
right,
proper
the
patient,
proper mechanical.
yeah, the patient
Right,
handling,
that's
yeah.
correct. So, definitely you're supposed to open your legs to the length of your shoulder before
Mhm.
you turn someone
And use
or,
your
or, or,
knees.
or use your knees. Don't use your back, right?
Right,
Because
but
then you're going to be in a pain all over. So
yeah.
in the process of doing it, because you're doing it every day, you
Mm,
tend to forget
yeah,
sometimes, and
yeah.
we overdo do, and then we go home and we have to take an Advil because you're feeling a little pain here, a little pain there. But overall, it's a very fulfilling job
Mm,
to know that you can help someone. But the problem again is that in most country, the family member want to interject. So then that becomes stressful. So you have the family member who dictate the job,
hmm.
not the DOC, which is the director of care,
Yeah,
you know, and they are there to protect us, the director of care. And
yeah.
sometimes they will allow us to be abused, verbally,
Mm,
inverbally, indirectly, you
yeah,
know, and then it looks like you have no one to voice for us. So it becomes very stressful. And
yeah.
then, you're like, I just don't want to go to work. You remember, oh, I have to go see this person, I have to go do this, and it becomes very stressful. So these are some of the things that we're facing.
Mm.
And since COVID, it has become even worse.
I've heard, and I've been
Yes.
there. I've also been clinical, so
All right. So what happened now? We have a shortage of nurses, a shortage of PSW, a shortage of all healthcare, the entire healthcare system, and I think it's across the world. It's not just Canada.
university.
It is across the world that they're suffering with a shortage of nursing staff. So
Hmm.
what you find is that you're working and you're working short. So that then becomes very stressful. So not only the work is stressful, but you're working short.
Yeah.
And then that takes a toll on you because you have to add other patient to your list of care that you have to give. So your day become very long, and then you say, my head, if I'm short tomorrow, I'm not coming to work tomorrow.
Of course.
You just don't want to go. You're thinking, oh my God, I'm like, is it going to be short tomorrow? You
Yeah.
know? So as
I
as you enter the building, you're like, is there
we're
enough
short.
staff up
Run,
there? Please, can you
run.
tell me, is there enough staff? Are we fully staffed today? You
Yeah.
just want to know because, it is very tedious on
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. What's your ratio like right now, patient to
We
like
are 1 to 8.
1 to 8?
So
Okay.
in the morning, it is a 1 to 8. In the afternoon, 1 to 8, because we have 32 on each unit.
Okay.
So in my work, we are 32.
Okay.
So it's 1 to 8.
Yes.
Before it was we had three staff. So we had 11, 11, and 10.
Okay.
So that's how we were breaking it before. But during COVID, we realized that we were overworking the staff.
Mm,
And we had the army. The army came in, and the
wow.
hospital came in because we had a lot of people who passed away. So we needed help.
The support.
So
Yeah.
so the government set it up that the army would come in and the hospital. So when they came in, they says the ratio should be 1 to 5 for the PSW. In
Wow.
order to give good care,
Can you
it should be
imagine?
1 to 5. Yes.
Okay.
So of course funding is never there.
Yeah.
So they put it 1 to 8.
Okay. Better
Yes.
than
Which
before
is
COVID.
way better than before.
Okay. And
Yes.
for your line of work,
Mhm.
personal care extends from everything from transfers, grooming to feeding,
Feeding,
and
bathing,
just for people who might not know. Yeah.
right. So this covers the entire thing.
Okay.
You're getting them ready from head to toe.
Yeah.
You have to comb hair, brush the teeth, wash
Brush
the
the
face,
teeth.
get the clothes, put
Yeah.
total clothes on. Then you have to transfer them either with the standing lift, the oil lift, or the ceiling lift.
Feeling
It
lift.
depends on the quality of the patient.
Okay.
For the
Any
standing
total
for,
cares?
for the total care. So
Okay.
the ones who have the ability to weight gain, they
Mhm.
can use the stand and lift. For
Okay. The
those who
stairlift.
cannot, they have to use the oil lift or
Okay.
the ceiling lift.
Yeah.
So those are like total.
Yeah.
You're doing total, and then you transfer to the wheelchair.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
I'm
So
very
right. And then we have to give the showers.
hmm
So their showers are 2 times per week, one in the day, one in the evening.
Okay.
So say we give a Tuesday morning, the next will be Friday evening.
Okay.
So it works out that way. So the morning staff will have one, the afternoon staff will have one.
Have one. Okay.
Night
Wow.
staff, they don't do shower because it's night.
Yeah, of course.
All right. The
Wow.
difference with the night is that it is used to be 1.5 because we
Okay.
have 32 patients.
Right.
So it used to be one have 20 patients that they have to care for, and the half would have 11.
Wow.
So it used to be like that, but since COVID, we got um, two workers. Yeah. So COVID, it was bad, but it was also a blessing.
Okay. I love
Yes,
I love
it
that.
was. Yeah. So
Okay.
now we have two staff per night shift to work on there. So which is excellent.
Okay. I love
Yes,
that. That makes me happy that things have actually improved in that area since COVID because there's a lot of stories that are negative, but I
that's
can
right.
say this was one good takeaway from this whole situation. Um,
Definitely.
my next question for you would actually be now that we know how well you care for others, how do you care for yourself? What does care look like for you? What's a hobby for you? And then what do you do to take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually? Do you have a practice or a routine that helps ground you?
Well, I am a Christian, so
Okay.
I do go to church,
All right. Love that.
and I try to be very active in the church.
Okay.
So it's a form of meditation for me. It's a form of healing.
Mhm.
It's a form of letting stress out.
Okay.
So if I am overly stressed, then I will try to sing or read the Bible, or I'll go in prayer and ask the Lord to touch me.
Amazing.
So that's mostly. Um, I am a little bit older now in age, so I've gotten lazy. I'm very lazy. And because of that, I am not as active as I should be.
Okay.
But this job, you have to make sure you're going to the gym. If you
Yeah.
don't have a avenue like me going to church, I try to be very active in the church.
Mhm.
So if not, you should be going to the gym,
Mhm.
or you should do some form of exercise. Make sure you're stretching.
Right.
Make sure you're trying to get the body ill, because the work is very tedious, and
Mhm.
if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're going to fall sick, and if you're sick, you won't be able to do the job 100%. We have a lot of people end up on modified duty, and then they're not able to do the job,
Yeah.
right? So it's very hard. So you do need to be very active, like going to the gym, riding the bike, walking,
Mhm.
whatever it is. If you can't go to the gym, you can walk. It is
Okay.
free to walk.
It's free to walk in the summer
Yeah.
because I know in Canada the
And
winter is
the winter.
not a time to walk.
Well, guess what? Bundle up. Get that sweater on, get that coat on, get that winter shoes on, and go walk.
I love that. I
Do
love that.
just even an hour or two. You know?
Okay. So you're
Yeah.
bundled up walking down the street in the winter.
No, not me. I tell you, I'm lazy.
Okay. All right. That's
I'm
fair.
very lazy.
Okay.
But
Um,
but I said I'm going to be walking, and I am more a preacher that don't do what I preach.
I'm going to hold you to that. Now that I know, I'm going to hold
Ah,
you to that. That's really funny. Well, thank you for sharing that because my next question, that's the physical, and we know your job is very physically demanding.
that's
Do you
correct.
think going to church also helps with your mental? Or my question is, if you are in a situation where you're very busy or there's been a death or a stressful event, how do you decompress from those stressful events? Like besides even your personal stressful events at work, is there any way that you have to decompress from all of that stress? Mental.
Well, in the training, they tell you don't ever get attached
Mm,
to the resident
yeah.
and don't take anything personal.
Yeah.
So I hold those two things very, very dear to me.
Okay.
I try not to get attached to the resident, but I do because I've been there 11 years.
Yeah.
And I know every resident in the entire building. You know, I know everyone because I work on all the floors.
Okay.
So I know all the workers. Plus I do. I am a union steward. I was a union steward. I used to work for them. I still volunteer with the union and work with the union. You
Amazing.
know, so I'm busy there too. But I always tell them when I'm training new staff, because I'm a trainer too, I say to them, listen, don't ever take anything personal. Don't get too attached that if the person should pass, it's going to affect you. But don't be detached.
Hmm.
And as I tell you, I have an avenue where I will pray if I am feeling mentally stressed,
Okay.
or and I try to be very verbal. I will go to my charge nurse and I will voice my opinion
Yeah.
and so forth. Yes. And I
Mm,
will go to the DOC and I will go to the ADOC and I will go to the executive director
I
and I will
love
say, social worker, and I will say, listen, this is happening. What
that's
is
so.
the intervention? I need a intervention. I say, this is my intervention. What do you think? Give me
Yeah.
what, your view on it. You
Yeah.
know? And I talk with everyone, and if they're having a problem, I try to see if I can assist them also with the problem.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
I don't take it anything personal.
Yeah.
I know it's the way of life.
Right.
We are all going to go to this part where we will all have to die, right? So I've learned to cope. I've
Hmm.
learned how to just let it go,
Yeah.
and I don't try to verbal where did I say no? Take it in on myself.
Internalize it. Yeah.
Right. I don't. I just
Yeah.
let it out into the atmosphere. You know,
Okay.
uh, uh, if someone passed and they were very dear to me, I would do a prayer and I would, say, Lord, take them into heaven and
Oh,
give them rest.
I love that.
And then I release it myself.
Yes, that's
Yes.
beautiful because especially newer staff, they can really have a hard time
Yes.
processing those kind of events. And I
That's
remember when
right.
I first was working on the units, that was really
Right.
hard for me. And that's partly why I've started um, creating programs and workshops for nurses because
Yes.
I feel like we're taught to do nursing, but not the art of being a nurse,
That
the
is
little
correct.
intricacies that will help guide you along your journey.
So
Um,
true.
I'm glad you
And,
were
and,
able,
and again, the problem is that if you're going to come into nursing and you don't have the heart for it, don't go.
you can't.
Do
Yeah.
administration. Be a nurse, but do administration work.
Yeah.
If you don't have the heart for people,
Yeah.
don't go into it. You have to have a heart for people
For people.
because you're helping all people. You're not
Yeah.
just helping your people, but you're helping all people.
All people.
Yes.
That's beautiful. I love that. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you for sharing.
You're
Um,
welcome.
I have two more questions for you.
No problem.
Maybe three. But
Mm.
the next question I had was um, I would love if you could share a heartwarming story with me, a story of a patient or of a situation or something you've experienced within your healthcare career that's left a warm feeling in your heart, or a situation that's left you feeling was uncomfortable or that was not great, something that you think somebody could learn from. Either way, I'll leave it to you. You can choose which story you'd like to share. But the whole purpose of this interview is really to get people to know you and get people to know and understand what you're experiencing and see how we can support people in your position in a better way.
All right. So, as you know, when you think of a nursing job, you think mostly of a female,
Okay.
into that role of a female.
Yeah.
So for the male, it is sometimes very difficult,
Mm,
because then you'll have a family member who feel away and say, I don't want any male to look after my mom,
yeah.
and you've been looking after the mom for a long time,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden the family member come and say, say, I don't want a male to look after my mom, you
Mhm.
know. Sometimes that you feel away because you say, I never had a problem with the patient. The patient
Mhm.
never had a problem. So, but it's just that the family member feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And we have to give them the dignity, you
Of
know.
course.
So in order to give the dignity, you just don't do it. But as I tell you, I'm going to verbalize this, right? You're
Mhm.
not just going to come and just push me out or push me away. So I go to the DOC and I say, listen, I'm working here for a long time. We never had a problem with the patient. Why this family member is now having a problem? What is
Yeah.
it? I said, this is my floor and I'm not coming off the floor. So who's going to come and do this patient?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Somebody has to do her, and
Yeah.
it's going to be me. So then the DOC went in and I said, listen, we have to solve this. So I tell her, put the female nurse staff as
Primary.
the primary and me as the secondary. Boop, we got it solved.
Yeah.
So, so moving forward, we have that where when the family member don't want the male to be the primary, then they have that note they have to put on the door.
Part. Yeah.
The female staff will be the primary caregiver, and the male will be the support. So, in order to move and to do that, help with the transfer, then we will do that. So that's one of the disadvantage. Um,
Mhm.
then you know, I've been there a long time. I have had a lot of good people. I've met
Yeah.
a lot of wonderful people. And
I love that.
I try to interact with the family member. I try to, be not say friend, but we have a
Friendly.
good communication. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we can talk about the dad or the mom, and talk, and any little thing they can always come and talk with me. I'll listen.
Listening.
Because listen is a healing also.
That's true.
It is one of the best healing you can ever find in the world. Is
Yeah.
when you're having a stress and you can talk to somebody,
Definitely.
and they're listening and they care. It helps with the healing. You
Yeah.
know, so I
Yeah.
try to listen to everyone, and I will interject my little thought,
Yeah.
and so forth, and you know.
I love
But
that.
as I said, if you don't have the heart for the job,
Don't
don't
do
get
it.
into that job. You
Yeah.
have to have the heart for the people. I love people. And I get to like the job. Before I would never like this. Can I
Yeah.
tell you? It took me a very long time.
Okay.
Because previously my friend would tell me to come into the job from in the 90s. And I tell them, hell no, never go into that job.
Yeah.
And today it's 13
You
years.
are. That's funny. That's
You
really
know?
funny.
But I try to do my patient to the best of my ability. I try to make them look good, smell good, and everything. And
Amazing.
so far, I've never had a complaint from a family member.
Hmm.
The only time I might have a complaint is, if I'm super busy and I'm not able to shave the father, and then the family member come before I get around to reach back to
Yeah.
him.
Oh, I've been there, my friend.
And
Yeah.
can I tell you, I had one case. I have been doing the job for almost 2 months, and every day that I shave him, set him, and she would tell me, "Great job, great job, great job, great job." But one day, I was a little busy, and I couldn't get around to shave the guy. And that daughter came, and she went off. She went off so bad. Can I tell you, Sarah? She became red. The way she was so mad. Her husband, he was like stiff. He couldn't move. And he didn't even say to her, "Honey, he do it every day. Why one day?" He didn't say one word.
Yeah.
And she went off. So, what I did, I went downstairs and I tell them, "This is my last day working on this floor. I don't want to work here no more." I go down there and I switch and I go to a different floor.
Wow.
Yeah. Because then I would have the team. And I say, I just don't want to interact with her no more.
Wow. It was
Yeah.
that. Wow.
Yeah. Because if I am doing something every day to the best of my ability and you're happy with it, if I miss one day, you should be
You need some lead.
understanding. Because you
Grace.
remember, I have 7 other people. I don't just have your dad, I have 7 other people to take care of too. And that time we were doing 11 people.
Yeah.
Mm. So that's one of
Woo.
my bad experience.
Okay.
Yeah, and I
Thank
have
you.
others. I have others too. Where you'll be good to the resident, and then the resident just go crazy on you. But remember, they suffer with dementia too, right?
That's it.
So
That's it.
it is
There's so
it
many
is not
layers.
so many layers of the dementia. So what I look at it, I say once they get into long-term care or nursing home, there is some form of dementia that is there. So never take anything personal.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Some form of even limitation, because it
That,
might not even be the dementia, but maybe even just depriving them of their ability to roam freely and be
that
in
is
their own environment is enough to frustrate somebody and have them act out.
that is so
So
true.
autonomy is taken.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, okay, thank you. I really do appreciate your stories, and this is what I want. I want people to know. Like, I would love for this lady to see this interview and see how it impacted you as the caregiver who's really trying their very best to show up for her father every day. But you're not going to have 100% every day. It's statistically impossible.
it
There's no
is.
way. So I need people to understand that this is the reality of the situation, and we all need to give each other a little bit more grace and compassion throughout the journey, right?
That is
Um,
correct.
so my next question for you would just be like, now, if you had a magic wand, say you're
Mm.
a genie, and you could get any type of support for yourself or for your profession or for the healthcare system, what would that be? And tell me why.
Well, before COVID, it was perfect. It was hard, rough, but it was perfect.
Okay. Perfect in what way?
You know the job, you had to do the job, and you had to wait your turn.
Okay.
I worked 9 years part time,
Okay.
and for 9 years, I could not get full time
Wow.
before COVID. I got full time in 2019.
Okay.
I started working there 2011, and I
Wow.
never get full time until 2019. I had
Wow.
to wait my turn, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because those workers who were there before me, they weren't going anywhere,
Seniority.
right?
Yeah.
And then we had people over the age of 65, but they were still working,
Wow.
right? But when COVID came, the government forced us to do one job. So before we were doing two, three jobs. And then with COVID, they say you had to do one job. So we had to boil it down to one job.
Okay.
We couldn't do the three job, the four
Yeah.
jobs. So we were stuck in one job
Hmm.
with the promise that they will give us extra shift because we
Hmm.
can't go to our part time.
Yeah.
So at the time I had a part time, and I gave the part time up because I said I was gonna stick with my full time. And in the COVID time, I told you the hospital came, so the hospital brought their staff.
Hmm.
The the soldiers came, so we had soldiers, and they were cleaning the facilities and helping us with the care,
Yeah.
and they also were doing their report. We had the hospital; they also were doing their report, and then after when they left, we got the agency.
Okay.
So we got the agency came in. And when the agency came in, we realized that they were paying the agency way more money than us who worked through COVID.
That's how it always happens.
Right?
Yeah.
So they were paying the agency. The nurses were getting more paid, and the PSW they were getting more paid. So what happened? The nurses now started to quit and go with the agency and came back to the same facility
Wow.
to work under the agency with the more pay. So what this did, it did like a shuffle,
Yeah.
a big shuffle, and it messed up the whole thing. Then now they come with travel nurse, and they were paying travel nurse more money.
Hmm.
Travel nurse now you can go to any province.
Hmm.
That if a province needs some nurse, you go there, and they are paying you. Plus, they're paying you for traveling and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So you find that it depleted the staff.
Yeah.
So then we had some immigrants who came in with the guarantee that if you worked in healthcare, you'll get your status,
Yeah.
right? So in 2020, all these immigrants came in, and they got their status. Not only did they get their status, they also got full time
Wow.
because we were forced to work one job. So they were in a full time position that if when after COVID, people will return back to their job and so forth, right? But
Yeah.
then it didn't mature or didn't happen that way. And what happened is that these these new people that
Hmm.
came in because they immediately went into full-time position or they work full-time position, there were no appreciation for the job. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because if you have to wait on something and when it is given to you, you have appreciation.
Right.
You know? And you say, I value this job because I waited 9 years to get a full time. But if
Yeah.
you come today and tomorrow you get a full time, you're like privileged. You feel
Great. Yeah.
entitled and privileged. So they don't do the job to the best of their ability. They just do mediocre jobs. So if I had a magic wand, I would go back from to before the COVID, and I
Okay.
would implement that principle of the work to today.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is if you had the magic wand, you would go back and make the seniority principle back to what it was prior to COVID to
That's
ensure
correct.
that people waiting for the jobs could continue to follow along the trajectory that they should have.
That is correct.
Okay.
You know, and then today, I don't want to say that one.
Okay. No, don't worry about it. Thank you. I
You know,
love
the
that.
reason why we have a change, even in immigration,
Yeah. Yeah.
and with that, one set arise
Yeah.
that were not there before.
Yeah.
And they're the management now. They're all management.
Hmm.
They're in all sectors, and the ball game of job now
It's changed the
has
dynamics.
changed, and it's become very difficult, challenging, and hard
Mm.
because you're competing against a group, and they're hiring their own, and
Yeah.
you're not getting opportunity
As much access.
as yes. And I look to say, if my children should try to go out into nursing, you know they would have to go out of the province to another province to get a job, or they would have to really work very hard, you know, because
Yeah.
majority, is others, and it has become very difficult right now.
Yeah. You're not the first person to say that. And I don't, yeah, I won't let you, I don't want to go too deep into that now, but
Yes,
I understand that. And I understand
yes,
the frustration that must come with being so patient and waiting for opportunities and putting in the time and the effort consistently over years and having things rejigged. But I just feel like at this point in healthcare, everything is changing. Healthcare is becoming a little bit more of a business than it used to be.
that is
So especially with AI and all this other stuff coming up, there's a lot that's going to be shifting and changing in the
true.
way we do medicine. So it's almost like we have to start thinking about how we approach medicine, how we approach caregiving now, because in the next 15 years, care will look so different.
It
Um,
definitely will.
so yeah, that's really great. Thank you. It's almost 40 minutes, so I won't keep you too much longer. But my next thing or idea concept that I just want to share with you, and I would love to get your opinion on it because you would be one of the target people.
All
Um,
right.
basically, the company I founded was the Caregiver Hub, and as I've shared with you in the beginning, it's really to find out how caregivers are caring for themselves.
All right.
So the idea behind that is also number one to create community.
Mm-hmm.
So I've realized a lot of people who are in these caregiving roles might desire certain desire to be in community, number one,
Mm-hmm.
and desire to have a chance to speak and share their thoughts,
Right.
but not always in a blaming and shaming capacity,
Wait.
but in a way
Mm-hmm.
of innovation and reflection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also realized that as a coach, it's very expensive to sometimes afford coaching for yourself. If you've gone through something, but you don't know who to talk to, I know it can be very stressful and very busy. And a coaching session can cost like $100 to $200 a session, you
Right.
know? So the aim of the Caregiver Hub is really to create a community space where number one, caregivers can come together and have resources to meditations, resources for exercise, resources for like discussion boards, where they can have a list of resources where they can come and get and replenish themselves for
Right.
a very minimal cost, like $5 or $10, something that will be affordable to everybody. Because if you give something free, people tend to not be interested.
Trusted. That's right.
Something just so that people are aware that these resources are there, and if you're putting even $5 into something, you'll probably be more mindful of using it, and
That's
the aim is
correct.
not for money, but I really feel like being in community will be
Mm-hmm.
so helpful. The other part of it is working with companies. So in the long run, hospitals not yet, but in the long run, I would love to work with um, companies and businesses to really promote happier and healthier workplaces
Mm-hmm.
from the standpoint of working with the individual.
Right.
So that is the premise of the Caregiver Hub, and we're already starting to run some wellness programs with some spas and some like like massage therapy places and gyms. But I'm just putting this idea out there as a caregiver yourself. Would a community space or having someone come into um, your unit and run a program once a month and then provide you access to a community. Would that be something you would be interested in?
For me, yes, but you're on the right track. See, they gave us this one.
Yes, tell me. Here's what I
Here,
can do.
here's what I can do.
Yeah,
And at the back, it is to help you to try to de-stress,
amazing.
right? So
Yeah.
they realize that they need this in most of the facilities. You
Mm,
should try to target the long-term care and the nursing home because
yeah.
the workers there are burned out
Hmm.
in the sense that I'm going to say it, in the sense we're caring for patients that are dead weight.
Hmm.
So with a dead weight patient, you put a toll on your body and on
Yeah.
your mental stress.
Yeah.
So they do need to de-stress and
Mm,
also to find a happy place,
yeah.
right? So this is definitely something that is very, very needed across the world for all caregivers.
Hmm.
So I think it's a great idea that you come up with this thing, and it would definitely work. And as
Yeah.
you say, if you do it for free, people will not be too
I've
interested.
tried.
But if
That's
they
the
have to
irony of
pay,
it.
if they have to pay a premium, then they launch right on, right?
I've tried
Because
to offer it for free and it wasn't as successful. People love the premise, but
right,
it's just psychology, it's human nature. If something is too readily available, they're
that is
not
right.
willing to put the
Participate and
effort
to
into
put
it.
the effort into it. That's correct. But when you know, look, if you're going to the gym, you have to pay um, a fee
Yeah,
or whatever they call that, a fee,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And guess what? They don't miss a beat. They are there,
Never.
right? They're there.
Yeah,
So and it tells us here is like it says, you know, to acknowledge. It says, give my full attention. To reassure, apologize. To clarify, stick to the facts. So they try to tell you, like what to do. Um,
amazing.
it's to take a moment to pause and to breathe,
Yeah,
which is very, very important.
yeah,
It says fix simple issue and try to fix it in the moment. Don't
yeah,
leave it for tomorrow, next week. Try to fix it in the moment.
yeah,
And then it says commit to the following. When an issue is there, take some time
yeah,
and get it resolved. It says ask for help.
yeah,
It says excuse. It said myself, but excuse myself from abusive interaction. So anything that becomes abusive, excuse yourself. Don't stay there and take the abuse from them. Say,
yeah.
excuse me a moment, and you go to the charge nurse and you get involved in there. And the last it says, take a moment to get away and to reset.
Perfect. That's exactly what
So,
I teach.
so
Yeah,
exactly what you just say, and they brought this out about 2 3 months ago. They're trying to implement this. They're also trying to implement a community thing, like what you say,
yeah,
where we can we can put things on there. They do have one right now, but they're trying to improve it.
yeah,
So if this will be really good, and I think it will be welcoming for them because at least people can come on and voice their opinion and feel free,
yeah,
to voice their opinion and know that they're at a comfortable place, they're not being judged. Somebody will get back to them and try to give them an answer and so forth. So, they will feel really good doing that.
yeah. No, I love that. Thank you so much for your time. I loved hearing your story. You have a beautiful smile and a great energy. Honestly, I do feel like you're someone who's meant to be on camera talking because it came very natural and light with you. So I do think you were the perfect fit to have this interview with because I think you just emit good energy. So I thank God.
Uh,
Um, and yeah, hopefully we'll be in contact.
all
And
right.
I would love, actually, if you're okay with it, I would love to maybe take a little clip of today's interview and share it on LinkedIn with like, hey, I did an interview with this person. And before I post it, I can send you the video so you can see what it is. But I'm thinking one of the parts where you said something along the lines of like, I do my best to care for patients in the way, like something to show the effort you put in and maybe even the toll it takes on you, but you continue to do it anyway. And
That's
that is what I want to share. That is the essence of it, is that we have people giving their hearts out there and they deserve the recognition and the thank yous just as much as anybody else. And they need support. So,
definitely.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
fine.
So before I do that, I'll share with you what I'm doing. But
All right.
thank you for your time,
All
really.
right. And then, I'll say, you
Yeah.
tell everyone, never, never take anything personal.
Yeah.
It's never meant to be for you. Don't take it personally. Become like the turtle. Get the back of a turtle. So
Mhm.
when the negativity comes, it bounces off
I'm
and it
sorry.
does not stay lodged into you. It is
Yeah.
not you. It is, the other person who is going through a stressful time.
Right.
So sometimes it's not that they want to pounce down on you or say something negative or do something negative. It is just that the world is very stressful. People
Yeah.
are going through a lot right now, financially, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. People are going through.
Yeah.
So don't take anything personal.
Mhm.
Just enjoy and enjoy. We have one little life.
Look alive. That's true.
One little life. And we have to enjoy every moment of this small life.
I agree.
Don't be afraid to not take the leap. Take the leap of faith.
Hey, amen to that, my friend.
Yes. And guess what? Everything will be well.
True. True.
Everything will be well.
Very true.
So get the back of the turtle, get a heart of love,
Mhm.
and everything will be well. Thank you
Wonderful.
very much for
Thank
inviting me.
you.
I
Thank you.
appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Have an amazing rest of your day.
All right.
All right. I'm going to close out this. Let me stop the recording. Perfect.